Okay, hello everyone and welcome. I am DSP, Darkside Phil, and this video is going to serve both as kind of a pre-stream video for today because this is a live stream that I'm recording, but also as a preface to what I am about to start, okay? I want people to know up front what's going on, why I'm doing this, and what to expect for the next 2 to 2.5 weeks as I begin my adventure here in Dark Souls 1, alright? So, let me give everyone a little bit of history, okay? Let me go ahead and explain what is going on, explain, why I'm doing this. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I have been a YouTuber since 2008, and it wasn't until, 2011 that I actually started doing this as a job, alright? Before then, it was all just casual, mess around with games here and there, play the newest releases, but none of it was all done as a hobby. None of it was done seriously as any kind of income or anything for me. So in 2011, Dark Souls released. Now, I had never played Demon Souls before. I had never done anything with a From Software game. I had zero knowledge of this game whatsoever, okay? And when it was released, people wanted to see me play it. They basically were hounding me to play it. We want to see Phil play this game. I actually remember back then. I said, I don't really know too much about Dark Souls. You know, and a lot of people were like, Phil, this is not the kind of game that you want to play. This is a game that's known for being insanely difficult. It's known for having cheap deaths. Everything you could think of. Basically, the entire game is an insane uphill climb on purpose. Because ultimately, if you can beat a game like Dark Souls, okay, it means that you've basically made it. You've earned it, all right? You've gotten to a higher level in some regard. You've basically shown that at least you have some kind of skill level as a gamer, all right? Now, of course, me, back in 2011, I'm like, you know, first of all, did I really believe that it was as tough as it actually was? I'll be honest with everyone. No, I didn't. I did not honestly believe that it was going to be as difficult as, you know, people basically said it was. So, in that regard, you know, I was kind of like, you know, I could beat this game. I don't know what people are talking about. Of course I can beat this game. Now, I didn't do any research. Like I said, I didn't know how to play the game. I didn't know anything about any of the gameplay mechanics of Dark Souls whatsoever. I went in completely blind. And keep in mind that this was the time period, 2011, I had never done direct capture. I wasn't live streaming. There was literally no way for anyone to hold my hand when I played Dark Souls for the very first time. And I actually remember those first few sessions. It was a few days where I focused in on playing this cripplingly difficult hard game. And I just felt completely and utterly lost. I didn't understand many of the game mechanics at all. I remember, I didn't understand the bonfire system. I didn't understand the leveling system. I didn't understand the equipment system. I didn't understand the crafting slash, you know, upgrades to the equipment system, or how things broke, or how to repair armor. I honestly didn't even really understand the combat system. I didn't understand any of it because the bottom line is Dark Souls does not baby you. Right? It expects you to just fucking learn for yourself, and if you want to succeed in the game, you better put time into it to learn how to play it, right? Now, me, back then, seriously, that was the antithesis of me. Like I said, everything I'd done on YouTube was just to dick around and have fun and not take anything seriously, and I certainly wasn't like saying, oh, I'm the best gamer on the planet or anything like that. I was just there to kind of mess around. I was not ready for what I faced when I played Dark Souls the first time. My overconfidence completely destroyed me, and I remember after 2 or 3 days, alright, I basically, it was like so lost that I started like fervently asking people for help. I remember I went to the stores all around my area to try to get the Dark Souls strategy guide, and it was sold out completely in my area because everyone else had bought the game and was in the same boat as me. They were like, what the fuck? This game is so hard. We need help. And everyone ran out and bought all the strategy guides. And keep in mind, 2011, when the game was new, there wasn't a super detailed online wiki that had all the information about the game. It was either you buy the strategy guide or you figure that shit out for yourself. So I remember really having an insanely difficult time with Dark Souls, okay? Eventually, after about, I remember it was like four or 5 days of trying to play this game, I got to a point in Blighttown, and I didn't know where the fuck I was supposed to go. I didn't know what the fuck I was supposed to be doing. I didn't have any kind of things to repair my weapons or armor. I didn't have anything to get rid of the poison in Blighttown. Basically, I was fucked. And I was so fucking frustrated with this game in particular because there was more other games to play at the time. Other games that I really wanted to play. I gave up. I said, fuck this. And I quit, and some people say it's a rage quit. For me, it wasn't necessarily a rage quit. It was more of a frustration quit, where I understood that if this was a game that I was going to keep playing, I was going to need to do research. I was going to need to have a guide. You know what I mean? And I wanted to play the other games at the time. I was already getting backlogged on stuff, and I was like, maybe this will be something that I eventually come back to, but I don't know. At this point, it's not my cup of tea. All right. So, that first run in Dark Souls 1 from 2011 ended up being one of the most famous, infamous, however you want to phrase it, runs that I've ever did on YouTube. People are synonymous. When you say Dark Souls playthroughs on YouTube, you think about the people who are amazing at the game, right? Who do amazing speedruns and stuff. And if you want to talk about the worst, most uneducated, stupid, flubbed run ever, you could probably say my run ranks up there amongst some of the top ones. Okay? And made my funniest moments count down to some of the silly shit that I did in that playthrough. And it basically kind of made me famous at the end of that year. People who had never heard about me before. So then... fast forward to 2013, all right? 2013, I started direct capture, I started live streaming, and a big request from people for those 2 years, right, that I had not played Dark Souls was, will you ever go back to Dark Souls? Phil, you gotta go back to Dark Souls, play Dark Souls, you gotta Dark Souls, Dark Souls, Dark Souls, Dark Souls. It was funny, no matter what game I played, no matter what video I put out, in the comment section, there was one person who would always say Dark Souls. So there you go. So, finally, in 2013, I said, I will go back to Dark Souls under one condition. I want to do it live on stream, since I don't know how to play the game, and I got so fucking lost, I need help from people on the stream. And basically what happened in 2013 is I went back and I did do the second half of Dark Souls, but I would be very, very dishonest if I were to say that that was any kind of a legitimate run through the game. What ended up happening was basically people held my hand, explained to me exactly what to do, all right? A lot of the times I was completely carried. I summoned people and people were handing me these overpowered weapons to use in the game. Which, by the way, it's funny because you can't do that shit anymore, right? You can't just, in the new Dark Souls games, you can't be summoned and just drop high-level loot on the floor. But back then, that was part of the game. And, you know, everything I did in the game was unearned. And what I would essentially call my return to Dark Souls in 2013, I would call it, basically a tour of Dark Souls. Not a playthrough of Dark Souls, not a walkthrough of Dark Souls, not even a let's play of Dark Souls. A tour of Dark Souls. Where essentially what happened is someone held my hand throughout the entire game and did all the hard work for me, while I basically got to see everything that was in the game. And let me tell you, I while doing that playthrough, or again, it wasn't a playthrough, while doing that gameplay, there you go, my eyes were open, because I was basically like, holy shit, this game has a ton of content, and we're talking a wide variety of content, not just, you know, one level. Or I think the game has something like 26 levels or 27 levels or something like that. A ridiculous amount of bosses. You know, for a game that was sold for retail price, this game had an insane amount of content, and really it's fun to kind of go through it and see all the different areas and the variety of stuff that they designed in the game. Now, sadly, a lot of the game has a lot of issues. You know, frame rate drops, lag, you know. I think they were more ambitious with what they wanted to do with the game than the hardware capabilities of the consoles they were designing the game for. And I understand that, and I'm ready for that. Okay, now I can kind of know what to expect. I'm sure I'm still going to die because of it, but I understand that, all right? So, ever since I played Dark Souls in 2011, and then I went back to it and kind of finished the game, but not really, in 2013, it's always kind of been a weight on my back, or not even really, but something that's nagged at me, because here's the thing, after that, I went on to play Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, even Demon Souls. Right after I finished Dark Souls, I went and played Demon Souls. So I've played every game now in the From Software library. And the one game that I never actually beat legitimately at this point is Dark Souls 1. So, I have always had this ambition to go back and finish it. And I've decided that today is the day, all right? So here's the premise of what I'm doing. As you see, I'm calling it Dark Souls The Redemption Run. What is the catch of this playthrough? Well, number one, it's me going back and redeeming myself. After all the years that I've been playing all the From Software games, and I understand how they work, and I know the game mechanics, I want to go back with all that foreknowledge now and beat Dark Souls legitimately. What that means is no hand-holding, no summoning, alright? I'm not going to be summoning people for bosses or anything like that, okay? I want to beat it legitimately, just like I did with Bloodborne, just like I did with almost everything in all the other games. I want to try to do it by myself. Now, if I come to the point where I'm just so destroyed and I can't get past the point, then maybe I would consider other options. But I have to give it an actual try, just like I've done with all the other games before I give up. You know what I mean? I'm not going to let myself be defeated like I did basically in that run. I just gave up and just let everyone do all the work for me. I don't want to do that, all right? Now, stream chat. Yes, there's going to be stream chatters talking during this run, but I'm not going to be actively looking at stream chat, and I also don't want stream chat to be holding my hand and saying, Phil, you missed this item, Phil, do this, Phil, I'm going to try to, just like I always do with Dark Souls, I'm going to try to figure that shit out for myself, all right? This is kind of the exception, because the other games, like I said, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, when I played those games, they were new, so it wasn't even like people who were watching knew the ways to beat everything yet. So this game, unfortunately, has a lot of potential for people to spoil and or give, like, the information. I don't want that. I want to try to figure it out for myself, okay? Okay. In addition, people are asking questions about, Phil, will Phil allow invasions in this playthrough? Well, here's the deal. I'm going to be very matter-of-fact here with everyone. I'm not against allowing invasions, but you know what happens when I'm especially going to play a game like this, and I'm playing it, you know, now in 2017, you know exactly what's going to happen. There's going to be people who are probably going to time, oh man, I'm going to fucking play this game, and I'm going to purposely just keep invading Phil to piss him the fuck off, and, you know, it'll fuck up his playthrough. So I'm going to try to play it legit here. All right, and if invasions become a problem to the point where I can't progress in the playthrough because there's just insane, constant, fucking overpowered invasions, I'm going to unplug the console. And I'm just being real here. Yeah, I know it's part of the game, but you also know it's going to be an abnormal amount of people who are probably going to try to fuck with me. So as soon as it becomes, I'm willing to entertain it at the beginning, but as soon as it becomes a problem, I'm pulling the cord because I want to play the game legit and not have all this bullshit. All right. Now, in addition, okay, DLC. I know that there's a giant DLC for this game called Artorias of the Abyss or whatever. I already played it back when I did that Return to Dark Souls run in 2013. So I've seen all the content and everything from that DLC, and I'm well aware it can add like 8 to 10 hours to the gameplay. The bottom line is, no, I'm not going to do that. All right, now let me explain. I know some people will be disappointed because a lot of people say the best stuff in the game is in that DLC. There's two main reasons why I'm not doing the DLC, okay? Number one, because I have basically about 2.5 weeks to get as far in Dark Souls as I can. And keep in mind, I am going to be balancing this every once in a while with Zelda. So the last thing I want to do is say, I'm going to do Dark Souls and then buy the DLC. And then all of a sudden, by the time that the next new release comes out, I'm not even close to the end because I've dicked around in this DLC and added 3 to 4 more sessions of gameplay. I don't want to do that, okay? Number two, and this is really the main reason, all right? This is the main reason why I'm not doing it. I decided to play Dark Souls on the Xbox 360 this time around, okay? The reason being, because my PS3 still infamously has issues with its HDMI video out, and every once in a while it just refuses to work properly. And rather than me get caught up in this hype playthrough of Dark Souls, and now, oh god, now I'm having technical issues, I know for a fact my Xbox 360 works fine. So I got the game on Xbox 360. Plus, the cool thing is I'll be getting achievements as I play through the game to make it feel like a plain vanilla, clean run of the game. That's going to be awesome to be getting the achievements as I play. But that being said, I don't own the DLC on Xbox 360. And the game itself costs $20. The DLC, they never lowered the price. It still goes for $15 digitally. It's pretty ridiculous how ridiculously overpriced that DLC is for a game who is now 1/3 of the price of its original cost, right? Why didn't the DLC price ever get lowered? That's ridiculous. So I am not going to be playing the DLC. It's too expensive, in my opinion. It just doesn't make sense. Now, one other thing, I looked into playing this on my Xbox One because I've heard that a lot of older games are now backwards compatible on the Xbox One. Well, I checked the other day, and I went into the marketplace. This was 2 days ago. I went into the Xbox One marketplace. I found Dark Souls, and it says, this game is not available on Xbox One. You must play it on Xbox 360. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll just get it on my Xbox 360. So I went and downloaded it, and then on my Xbox 360 right now, it says, oh, it's backwards compatible on the Xbox One. I'm like, what? I just was on the Xbox One. It said it's not available on Xbox One. So I don't know why that happened. I don't know the deal with the backwards compatibility shit on Xbox One, but it wouldn't come up for me. So I said, fuck it. I'll just fucking play it on 360. It doesn't matter. It's going to look the same. It's not like the game performs any better on Xbox One regardless. I'll just play it on Xbox 360, and we'll go from there. All right? Wow. I'm sorry. I just got to say this because this is hilarious. Ready? This is hilarious. Someone in Stream Chat just said, I can buy $500 coffee maker, but I can't buy a $15 DLC for my business. If you think I own a $500 coffee maker, you are a moron. You are a ripping fucking idiot. You probably squirt fucking toothpaste into your eyeballs. I mean, wow, you are dumb if you think that I spent $500 on a coffee maker. But anyway, I digress. So that's the deal. That's the preface of the Return to Dark Souls Redemption run, all right? I want to finish this game. I want to play through it legitimately, and I want to have fun with it. Yes, there will be face cam, and yes, there will be a death counter. Just like my other From Software gameplay runs, yes, those things will be present in this playthrough. And so it's going to be like a modernized version of the game that beat my ass. I'm going to finally go back and try to beat its ass, okay? All right, folks. So that's the deal, okay? That is it. I'm not going to go into detail or anything about anything else. Normally on a pre-stream, I would do plugs and all of that. But I would rather just go right into gameplay. We got about a little bit over 3 hours of gameplay, but I am going to take a break at some point for about 15 minutes. This was going to be ongoing. Yes, it's going to be tomorrow. I'm going to be doing it probably Sunday. Every once in a while, I'll take a break one day to play Zelda, which is the other playthrough I'm doing right now. But for the most part, you're going to see Dark Souls coming out every day. So any day, you know, in the next couple of weeks, you're bored, you want to get a laugh, see me try to take on the difficult shit in Dark Souls, come on by the stream. You're going to have a lot of fun. Okay? Fair enough? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is time. Let us begin the Dark Souls Redemption run. Face cam, death counter, no fucking excuses. Yeah! Motherfucker, yeah! Yeah! Man up! Man up! Come on. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Okay, here we go.